Is Dale Tompkins, President of Code 3. Thank you very much for taking time out today to be a part of not just a new technology or product launch, but also a new capability for policing. Law enforcement across the globe today are faced with three conditions that are a permanent part of our lives. One is austerity. Whether it's the state of Illinois or Spain, we know what's happened to budgets, been cut back, slowly recovering, perhaps never back to their former levels. It's giving way to consolidation, from the 6 municipalities of Salt Lake City combining into one, whether it's Scotland and 8 municipalities coming to one consolidation, and of your departments are there. Mobile. Many officers are being asked out of the office, onto the streets to serve and protect. With those three facts, in a sense, what's being asked of law enforcement today is to do more with less. At Code 3, recognizing those conditions, we sat back and asked ourselves, what could we do? How could we impact that? Beyond brighter lights and smarter sirens, we looked at it from a systems perspective. How does a police officer interact with their environment? And as such, we conducted a couple of Just Imagine exercise. What could be relative to those trends? What could we put into the planet to be able to make law enforcement more productive than they already are? Proud to introduce vLink, remote vehicle connectivity. vLink's not only new to the industry, it's also new to the world. vLink system itself is comprised of 3 components. You have a vLink controller, your vehicle, any vehicle on the planet, a vLink app, and the combination of that is the vLink system. Together, that's wireless control of your vehicle from up to 300 feet away. One way to think about vLink is in the context of what law enforcement already knows about. And that context is more safety to less safety, and also less control to more control. You folks know firsthand when you have control and when you don't, and when you have safety and when you don't. The community, Code 3, we provide you with lights and sirens to help give you some level of control, some level of safety over your environment. The way to think about vLink is it provides you with more safety and more control. You'll see that firsthand through a number of testimonials coming up. It's not just 5% more. In some cases, it's order of magnitude more control over your environment. From the academy days forward, you were taught that time and distance are your friend. The more time and distance from the point of danger, clearly the more control over the situation and the greater safety you have. It's important because what vLink provides is greater time and distance, because what we know is a lot can happen in 7 seconds. 3 major breakthroughs with vLink. We'll walk through the features and benefits associated with each. They're all patented. First major breakthrough, range of control. Prior to today, the control of that vehicle was inside that driver's seat. Now you have your mobile headquarters extended 300 feet in an American football field outside of your vehicle. What are some vLink users saying about vLink today, users that already have it? Here's one state trooper said the first time he used vLink, he got goosebumps. When I asked him why that was the case, he said, never before have I been able to stand away from my vehicle and control it in the way that I've wanted to in the past. I know a couple of things about that. Number one, Code 3 product and goosebumps have never gone hand in hand before. Number two, it reminded me of British futurist C. Arthur Clarke, when he said any sufficiently advanced technology ought to be indistinguishable from magic. On that day, for this trooper, he experienced just a little bit of magic in his life. Let's walk through a couple of real-life scenarios of vLink users already using the technology today. At one point or another, every law enforcement professional has had to conduct a field sobriety test. And in those field sobriety test situations can turn less safety, less control. Let's watch how one officer is using it today.
Emergency lights from inside the vehicle. I'll walk up to the car asking for information, and then if I notice they got signs of impairment, I'll go ahead and have them exit the vehicle, and then we'll start field sobriety. A lot of people say the lights are bright, the blue lights bounce and stuff, it messes them up. So they say they can't hold their balance and stuff. So I don't mind cutting the front off, but I'll leave the rear on so that way somebody knows that I'm still out there and come up on it. By using vLink, it allows me not to go back to the car. I can just grab my smartphone and take the blue lights and take them off in the front so it doesn't mess up their field sobriety. That way I don't have to turn my back on the subject to adjust the lights. vLink's a fantastic tool. It allows us to do so much without going back to the car for officer safety. Everybody has smartphones and you normally have it right there on you, and I can control anything with my siren by using my smartphone.
So that was Officer Fitzner, and clearly in the field sobriety test he uses now vLink to be able to control the situation. Doesn't have to worry about putting cuffs on anybody, walking anybody back, putting them in the back seat. He's got more control over the situation than he had before, perhaps greater safety for him. Officer Fitzner also uses vLink as a massive takedown light in situations where he needs it. It's one thing to pull up and turn the massive takedown light on him. It's another situation when very quickly his world changes and he needs it remote from his vehicle. Let's listen.
vLink has really made my job less.
Let's just take a look at what he's doing here. Clearly we got a little audio. So there it's a situation in which here somebody pulled up on him. He was able to remotely from his vehicle and put on a massive takedown light. You'll be able to watch that video firsthand. Apologize for that on the kiosk in just a little bit. And then we have another situation where a traffic and arrow stick control. And it's a situation where when you're remote from the vehicle, I'll have right there Chief Kevin Collette. Chief Kevin Collette walks through in terms of how he uses vLink in their environment. You'll be able to talk to him live. You can't hear that, but he's right here. You'll be able to hear that live in our kiosk over there in terms of the dozen different testimonials and videos associated with that. Another state trooper, he's already said it's more valuable than his siren. And when I asked him why that was the case, he said, Dale, my siren gets me from point A to point B. That will always be important in my life. But I would tell you this, with vLink, my situation changes. I'm able to react more positively to that environment. And when he gave me some examples, he said, I now embed myself with accident reconstruction crews. And my cruiser is down the way. I'm embedding with the accident reconstruction crew. I'm controlling the direction across the roadbed with my light and with my arrow stick, as well as using the horn that he uses from time to time, the air horn, to be able to control inattentive drivers. He goes on to say that he also uses it in bad weather conditions. This is a particular example in Missouri in which there was an icy road. Down the embankment about 200 feet was a woman that was stranded in the snow because it was sheer ice. He left his car up top because he knew if he went down the embankment, he was going to end up and not help her out. He gets out of his car, walks down, is able to help her as well as control direction with the traffic up top through his vLink and the control of that arrow stick. Deputy Mike Meese, he says it's like a second set of hands. He showed up at a domestic medical emergency. You guys have seen that before in your life. Things escalate. You're on the scene before EMS is there. His light bar was not fully enabled at that point in time. Didn't think that was serious. He just had his fronts on. In the past, he had to make a choice. He could still do CPR or go outside and turn on the lights so the EMS could respond 7 seconds quicker. He doesn't have to make that choice anymore. He does both simultaneously. And as such, he said it's going to save somebody's life someday. You'll be able to hear firsthand from Deputy Mike Meese. Our website is live now at that website, code3vlink.com. You can also watch the dozen different testimonials of their vLink users today. If you look at the multiple different policing scenarios combined with the vLink functions, there's almost an unlimited combination. And in fact, ahead of time, we could only predict probably about 25% of the ways that this tool would get used in policing. It's almost near infinite number of possibilities because the number of situations you end up in are near infinite. What we heard back, it's like an officer being at two places at once. It's like another officer with you. An overused terminology, but it is clearly a force multiplier from a technology perspective. Well, we heard early on, well, Dale, it's just, that tool is just a matter of convenience. It's saving me the 5, 10, 30 seconds to walk back to my vehicle. I tell you what we have seen firsthand to this tool, it's not convenience, rather it's more safety, more control, and a higher level of mission effectiveness. It's not more convenience when you can embed yourself in an accident reconstruction crew for their greater safety because you have eyes on the traffic while they're doing their job. It's not more convenience when you're assisting a stranded motorist with your vehicle 50 yards away and you're simultaneously managing traffic. It's not more convenience when you can do CPR and also energize your lights to get that EMS to find you in that dark street that much quicker, to get those paddles on somebody's heart. In fact, what we've seen come out, it's just a new level of capabilities that are being enabled. The second breakthrough, no internet connection required. Operates any place, anytime, 100% reliability. So if we're in the swamps of Jersey and you don't have a connection, whether you're in the desert in the Middle East and you don't have connection, or when you're Sydney streets and you don't have internet or cell tower connection, it's pretty important. Pretty timely too. Most of you guys know what happened in a few seconds, a few minutes after the first Boston bombing. Cell towers got shut down for fear the terrorists were going to communicate and detonate another bomb. vLink in those environments continues to work because it has a hotspot 1-to-1 ratio. Wireless interconnection, a secure wireless connection. Upon initial installation, 3 wireless layers of security. That way you don't have to worry about getting hacked. And this positive feedback technology. Hit the left arrow, red comes up. You know without line of sight, the red arrow is on. Likewise, on the right-hand side, you hit the button, the right arrow. So whether it's left, right, you do not have to have line of sight. You know that that function is enabled. Third breakthrough, user configured menu. The standard user default, level 3, dim air horn, arrow sticks along the center, door, trunk, gun lock, canine release, and the siren control head. That's your standard interface. The tones are gray and blue, so you're not lit up at night, crafted that way ahead of time. And you can determine any way that you want to configure that menu for you or your department. You can also have other security functions, whether you want door release, trunk release, gun release, or a canine release. So default, obviously level 3 comes here, but if you happen to be right-handed, you want quicker access to that default, you can set it up over here. Arrows, you can just build the way you want to build it. Dim function, trunk release for this one. This must be 5% of the officers that have a canine, and clearly an air horn. And then lastly, in the bottom right-hand corner, your siren control head. What's important is to know is that how you configure that front screen, in a sense, are the capabilities you readily enable. It makes no sense if you're not a canine officer to have a canine release. So you can modify it to the needs that you have. Or you can hit this bottom right-hand corner, which is the siren control head. If you have the Z3 version of vLink, what pops up is the Z3 siren control head like this. Or if you have the RLS siren control head, the RLS siren control head comes up. That's a 100% active surface. So you touch any one of those buttons there and it's active and you'll be able to use it as you see fit. That's not all. vLink is usable with any system on the marketplace globally today. We just didn't want the value associated with vLink to be put in the hands of a Code 3 customer only. We wanted to make sure you guys could have access to that. So it's so configurable, it works with anyone on the market today. That's our universal version. Clearly, the best benefit, the most interactivity comes from either the RLS or the Z3 version, but we have that flexibility built into this. So in a sense, you can determine what interface you want, whether it's the standard default adjusted for your needs or the siren interface. Our users today are about 50-50. 50% of them are using this. The other 50% are comfortable with that siren control head they got in their car. They have that down. They brought it with themselves going forward. Works with most smartphones, whether it's the iPhone, whether it's any of the Androids, Galaxy, and on over to Windows. It's important because 90% of officers have smartphones today with them. About 55-60% of the installed base of law enforcement is Samsung Galaxy with an Android. That's actually very good. If you happen to be the responsible for the bring your own device policy inside of your department, we'd ask you to go to our vLink website, because you'll see there a couple of policies, and we even have a template for how to begin to integrate vLink into your own BYOD policy. It's an important trend going forward. We need to make sure that we marry together in a good way what people are using, which is your smartphone and your policing environment, and the policies that you have in your own individual groups. vLink supports over 60 languages. If you happen to be in a part of the United States where Spanish is important, you can make sure that you change all the buttons to Spanish. If you're in any part of Europe and you want Italian, German, French, you can adjust it. Arabic in the Middle East, Russian, etc. So highly flexible with regards to language. Live demos are going to be available every hour on the half an hour, starting at 12:30 at the Sheridan front entrance. About a 2-minute walk from here. If you know that Sheridan front entrance, there's a big circle associated with it. In that corner over here is a black Dodge Charger, and you'll have vLink live there. You can work with it, interact with it, see it how it uses from that perspective. A little bit about the black box associated with vLink. There's the blocks that it comes in. Open it up. Little user guide tells you how to quickly install one of the 3 units associated with it. Gives you some instructions on how people are starting to use it. And there's a couple of QR codes to link you to the testimonial area and the user area of the website. Here's your vLink controller, which attaches into a sedan or up into an SUV in any other kind of vehicle you may or may not have. You have a Cat 5 cable, power and ground cable, and install, as well as ready reference to the quick user guide as well right there. One more thing. You're thinking to yourself, what's this cost, Dale? What's the price? Less than 3 fill-ups of gas. Less than 3 fill-ups of gas. And I'll tell you how we arrived at that price. We looked at 2 sources. We went to 2 sources. We started off with the science of it. Value associated with a product like this. It's new to the world, never ever had it. You got to have a touch point. Value is more safety, more control, more higher mission effectiveness. Against the different scenario-based benefits. Let's walk through those. The ability to start a remote recording of your in-car video. So, what's the value associated with the ability to capture evidence downstream? Is that worth $5? Is that $25? Perhaps priceless, depending on what you're trying to capture. Next scenario, the front cut for the FST. What's the value associated with controlling the front cuts and staying with the suspected drunk driver simultaneously? Another scenario in terms of the medical emergency. What's the value of saving somebody's life during a medical emergency, since you can continue to do CPR and get that EMS that much quicker? Every one of those scenarios we talked here aren't pulled out of thin air. That's how our users are using it today. Control lighting to aid a victim. Control traffic in bad weather. Remotely dim lighting to calm a suspect. It was interesting. One officer, trooper, said to me, very, very agitated. Person must have been on drugs. Very, very agitated. Simply hit the front cuts, calmed him down dramatically. Didn't have to worry about walking back to the car, controlling him, etc. Was able to do it right there. It was worth value to him at that point in time. Assist accident reconstruction crew, control roadblock. Locate a vehicle with an air horn. Pretty interesting scenario in Kentucky that you see over there on the interactive kiosk. and they open the trunk or secure the vehicle, or all the number of different ways you could use it, the infinite possibilities. Price point right about there. You're coming away with the price point in a second. Hold on, guys. The external proxies. Nest thermostat from the consumer world, in which you can remotely control the temperature inside of the vehicle or your house. A Philips Hue, that's where you can remotely control lighting inside of your home, or other proxies. So when we looked at both the science as well as the external proxies, fleet user price, $249. So to the individual officer, to the department, per user, it's at $249. You can order that starting today, right over here, or you can also order it on our website starting now. Promotion price, $169. When we asked our users, how do you tell the other 700,000 law enforcement professionals in the United States about something they've never tried before? They know what a siren is. They know what a light bar does for them. How do you convince the other 2.3 million law enforcement professionals around the globe? They said one thing: put it in their hands, it sells itself. Put it in their hands, it sells itself. And as such, we offered a $169 price. You can pay for that all at once, or in 3 to 24 easy installments. And since we wanted to put it in your hands with no risk, we got a no-risk 60-day free trial. No-risk 60-day free trial. Sign up right over here for any variant of the Z3 that you want, or of the vLink that you want. Trade show booth. What we have different here is that every hour on the hour, we'll have a presentation of vLink. And we'll give away, it'll be probably about 15 to 20 minutes, enough in time so that you can walk outside and see the live demo. But we'll also give away 2 free vLinks for those people that are here and walking through that. An interactive kiosk, so you'll see over there that you'll have the ability to look at a dozen different testimonials. We actually have an impact movie which runs about 2.5 minutes. There's QR codes over there. Upload it, share it with other people. Appreciate you doing that. And then right over here we have our point of purchase area, and you're welcome to talk to them relative to anything you might want to do. Technical questions. Clearly there are going to be some technical questions that you have. There's 2 gentlemen in their red shirts. Maybe we can have them stand up there. We got Roger and Joe standing up with the red shirts. You got any technical questions, they'll be in and around the vehicle. So, in summary, vLink, putting more control, security, and mission effectiveness right in your hand through remote control of your vehicle 300 feet away. With Code 3 and the new tagline, vLink is a great example of what we're trying to do in the industry and lighting the way. Thank you very much.